Breaking. A private letter. A future queen. A confession nobody expected. Spain imagined a royal romance wrapped in protocol. Instead, it received a raw, heartbreaking message that shattered the perfect narrative. And this time, the crown isn't controlling the story. She is. Princess Leonor's emotional letter to her husband did not leak through official channels. It surfaced in fragments, whispered through palace staff, and then quietly confirmed by someone close enough to feel the tremor in her voice. But before Spain even processed what she wrote, one question took over the nation: why would a future queen risk everything by putting these words on paper? To understand the power of this letter, you first have to understand the pressure Leonor has lived under since childhood. Europe saw a poised, polished teenager growing into a symbolic leader. Spain saw a solution to a fragile monarchy. But behind the elegance and speeches was a young woman trying to navigate love inside an institution built on expectation, not emotion. The letter begins simply, almost delicately. Not royal language, not rehearsed diplomacy, just a young woman writing to a man she trusts more than the throne. And in her first lines, she admitted what many tried to deny, that the crown is both a privilege and a cage. She wrote that she fears loving someone publicly because every affection becomes public property, every mistake becomes national discourse, and every gesture becomes political currency. But the most arresting part of this letter was not her fear. It was her resolve. She wrote that she would choose love, not because it is easy, but because love is the only thing powerful enough to keep her human in a world determined to turn her into a symbol. And she acknowledged that loving him meant stepping into conflict with the institution her future depends on. Those words struck Spain like a lightning bolt. Because it wasn't just emotional. It was political. It raised the unspoken question: can a queen choose her heart without destabilizing the crown? What makes this letter more intense is the context surrounding their relationship. A husband not from Spanish aristocracy, not crafted for royal alignment, but a man who walks beside her as an equal. A man reportedly challenged by certain figures within the palace for being unpredictable, outspoken, and dangerously independent. Leonor didn't deny those traits. She praised them. She wrote that his honesty, his refusal to bow for acceptance, gives her strength she cannot find in royal corridors. But perhaps the most shocking paragraph was one sentence long. She wrote, "If Spain chooses fear, I will choose you." That line became the focus of countless debates in royal circles. Was it metaphor? Was it literal? Was Leonor saying she would abandon her destiny for love? Or was she daring the monarchy to evolve with her? The palace did not issue a denial. In fact, they issued nothing at all. Silence, in monarchy, is rarely accidental. And while Spain waited for clarity, speculation intensified. Was this letter written during a crisis in their marriage? Or during a crisis with the crown? Was she preparing him for battle, or apologizing for the one already underway? What we know is that she expressed guilt. Not because she loved him, but because the system she was born into demanded sacrifice from him. She apologized for dragging him into a world where every emotion is catalogued, every action interpreted, and every mistake amplified. She admitted that the crown can crush people who never asked to carry its weight. And yet she promised to protect him, even when she cannot protect herself. That promise introduces a powerful contradiction. A future queen who admits weakness, while offering strength to someone outside the institution. And that contradiction is why this letter shook Spain, moved Europe, and rattled those who still believe royalty must be untouchable. There are whispers that King Felipe read the letter before anyone else. Some say he saw in his daughter the same loneliness he carried before becoming king. Others say he feared her vulnerability could fracture the monarchy before she takes the throne. But Queen Letizia reportedly reacted differently. Some insiders suggest she cried when she saw what Leonor had written, because she recognized something raw and painfully familiar: the constant negotiation between womanhood and duty. But the real twist is what Leonor wrote near the end of the letter. She said that if her husband ever feels trapped, he must speak, even if it exposes the monarchy. That truth is more important than reputation, more important than ceremony, more important than survival. A future queen telling the man she loves to never keep silent, even if his voice endangers everything she inherits. That is not royal. That is revolutionary. And this is where the story shifts. Because this letter was not just emotional closure. It reads like preparation. For conflict. For backlash. For scrutiny that neither of them can avoid. She warned him that Spain will expect perfection. Not from her, but from him. And she reassured him that failure is not betrayal. It is human. The final sentence is what transformed this letter from rumor into legend. She wrote, "If the world demands we hide our hearts, then we will build a new world." Whether metaphor or declaration, those words echo a sentiment Spain has never heard from its heirs, a willingness to rewrite legacy, not just inherit it. Now, Spain is left with questions no palace briefing can answer. Is this the beginning of a monarchy shaped by authenticity, vulnerability, and love? Or the prelude to a crisis that could expose the fractures long hidden beneath royal composure? What is certain is that behind crowns and ceremonies, there is a young woman learning how to love while the world watches. And a husband learning that being loved by a future queen is both an honor and a burden. The letter was emotional, yes. But it was also defiant, prophetic, and heartbreakingly sincere. Spain expected a queen who obeys. It may get a queen who feels, fights, and refuses to let power silence humanity. And the crown, for the first time in a long time, may not be prepared for her.